Comic Encyclopedia.
Yes, please.
So what can you say about traveling abroad?
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, let me let you know that there's a difference between traveling abroad and moving overseas. Moving overseas is for people who are coming from very wealthy families. It's not like the country where they are was disturbing them. They're just moving either for further studies or they are going to look for a new experience. Like they just want to move overseas and live overseas because they don't want to live in the country where they presently were born in. That's moving overseas. Then we have falling bush. Falling bush is strictly for hustle. If you hear somebody say, I want for bush or I don't fall bush, they went for hustle. There are no two ways about it. Yes. And let me let you understand something. There is nobody in this life as secretive as somebody who is compiling documents to travel abroad. You can be with them today, even plan their birthday celebration tomorrow. Why tomorrow? In fact, when tomorrow is the day that they have booked, take their flight and leave the country. You would never know. Yes, you know that most African families and societies have been sustained by bushfallers. Without the presence of bushfallers, these families and societies would have perished. Yes, because the presence of a bushfaller in a family, both in the internal and extended family, they are safe, they are secured. And if you look at most businesses and infrastructure in Africa were built by bushfallers or people who at one point in their lives have lived abroad overseas. Oh yes, which is why I think that if the African government is not going to secure the dreams of the African people, if they're not going to secure the future of their citizens and make Africa a safe haven, they should facilitate their movement abroad. Oh yes, I think that the government should even subsidize their flight if they decide to travel, because they cannot be like Pharisees, standing at the gate, refusing to enter, refusing orders of entry. So they should, the least they can do is to assist their citizens to live, since they cannot create the African dream in Africa. It's like the African dream can only be created overseas.
Nope.
But in recent years, the value of falling bush has dropped. Just like any business where there are too many people selling the same product or the same service, there's bound to be too much competition, and because of that, the value drops. Initially, one bushfaller was enough to change the story of a family forever. But now,
I have left you behind.
a family of 5, at least 3 of them must fall bush if the story of the family has changed. One person cannot do it. The value of falling bush has drastically dropped. Yes, because now people move abroad, not because initially when people move abroad, in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they are already building mansions, so they are saved enough. But now, if you fall bush 2 years, 3 years, the only thing you have saved is your breath. Yes. So the value of falling bush has greatly dropped. It has greatly dropped. People are not moving overseas now to become billionaires. No, they are moving overseas now to live a life that is just slightly better than the life they had when they were back home. And now the other beautiful part is that they are in a system that works. Yes, they are in a system that works, and they have to work tirelessly to keep that system working or they work out.
The Comic Encyclopedia, you are now in Japan, so what can you say about living abroad?
Oh, thank you. By the special grace of God, I'm a young convert in the bush cult. I just joined. First of all, you should understand that everybody who is abroad should relate with Asake's song. It's lonely at the top. Lonely, lonely, lonely. It's a very lonely life. Very, very lonely. But the fact that you're abroad does not mean you're at the top, because being abroad is not being above. You're just a normal hustler hustling under different circumstances from those who are hustling back home. So it's a different reality. It's a different life. Everybody minds their business. Everybody just focus on hustle. So bush money you make abroad is blood money.
Hello sir, what do you mean?
Yes, because see, unlike Africa or any other place where you can receive free cash, people can send you money, people can dash you money, people can momo you, people can do yaza. Abroad, every money you have is the one you worked for and sweated for with your blood. So it's money in exchange for your sweat, your time, your blood, your energy, your freedom, your time to socialize. You sacrifice everything for the money. So it's blood money. Which is why I feel pained when people, after you have suffered this much, and then you send the money back home. It is not enough. They send you only 100,000. Which is why I want to tell people, if you have ungrateful siblings that do not understand how much you're suffering to make the money you make, just calm down. Don't be angry. Don't die of depression. Just get that money and send them to one of these Asian countries. Let them go and hustle for themselves. Many man go check sense. Because abroad money does not move from abroad to abroad. Money can only live abroad to Africa. When they're already abroad, they can fend for themselves. The downside of traveling abroad that nobody tells you, especially as a young lady, is that traveling abroad limits your chances of getting married early or getting married at all. Because abroad, the streets are very dry. Nobody comes out here to look for love. Nobody comes out here to look for romance. People come here to hustle. So the streets are very dry. There's no love abroad. That's even the Bible is very conscious of this fact. That is why I say that the love of God is shared abroad in our hearts. So abroad, we only have love in our hearts. We don't have time and space to practice the love. Because generally and unfortunately, and normally, as a matter of fact, it is very difficult for women to find men. Getting married for women is always a prayer point because of the disproportionate ratio of men to women. But this situation is further exacerbated when you travel overseas. That is why even when you look at our love for God, in Africa it's different. In Africa, if somebody only goes to church on Sunday, it's not enough. We call you Sunday Christian. You are lukewarm. You are not fervent in the spirit. You are not taking your Christianity serious, because you have to go Wednesday midweek service, Friday prayer meeting, and then Sunday service. Hey, you are a serious Christian. But you see, abroad, if you can have somebody that goes to church only on Sundays every week, that person's love for God not there. My goodness. Means this person loves God. This person is fervent in spirit. Because the chances of backsliding when you come abroad are very high. So those who are just Sunday Christians in Africa are most likely to not be found anywhere among the congregation of God's people when they travel abroad. Praise the Lord. Yes, so my brother, before you terminate that relationship back home because you want to fall bush, my sister, before you terminate that relationship because you want to change levels, think if there's a possibility you guys can work it out from long distance relationship because the streets are very dry. Very important because it is not easy unless God helps you. Of course, I know there are people who have come out here and they have found love. Of course, it happens. But don't put yourself in a risky place. Praise the Lord.
So what advice do you have for people who are planning to travel?
No, you cannot ask me that. You cannot ask me that. See, there are 3 people in this life you cannot advise. 1, 2 people that are in love. There's nothing you can tell them. 2, a woman whose papa has told her that this year is a year you cannot advise her. And then 3, somebody who has made up their mind to travel abroad. See, because this is the thing. The moment you decide you want to travel abroad, you stop seeing opportunities in the immediate environment where you are. Everything becomes dull. Everything becomes a problem. You start getting irritated even by the air you breathe. So there's nothing you're going to do to change their minds. Yes, there's nothing you can say to discourage somebody. There's nothing you can say about somebody who has made up their mind to travel. There's nothing you can say about it. That is why falling bush remains a call. Because no matter how you discourage somebody or try to tell them the reality on ground, they will still travel because this is the thinking. If it is that hard, if it is that difficult over there, because we tell that it's not what you think, it's not what you think. The question is, if it is not what we think, what are you still doing there? Why are you not back home? My brother, my sister, if life is so hard out there, what are you still doing there? There's something you're not telling us. And so they come to find out. And when they come, they find out the washan. No! When somebody asks them, they cannot tell them too. And so that is why it's called a cult, because we keep coming and nobody's leaving. No matter how hard we are having it here, no matter how difficult the life seems to be here, nobody's going back. Because what happens abroad remains abroad. They cannot tell you all this stuff.